Take two. Please look at my signs before I get started. Okay. Jesus, shut up. I've already adjusted that thing 3 times, and why are you choking me all of a sudden? Oh, that looks fabulous, but better than getting strangled. Okay. So I kind of pulled like a bunch of cards. And see, there's a lot. So it may take some time. So, I pulled 2 cards from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. This here. And they are Caterpillar, and the subtitle is Opportunity. And let me hold that closer so it's not all glare. And it's the number 4. Just saying. And as you can see, it is a cat. It's a cat-headed caterpillar, and it seems to be smoking some. It's enveloped in pink smoke. If you look here, if you look, where's my indicator? Right here, she's holding like some sort of puffer. And I did pull the guidebook pages for this. We'll see if I reference them, because I'm getting other things I feel like more strongly than what the book has to say about this card. God, I'm just fattening up. I hate it. Okay, to me, this is like a full-on conspiracy card. Like honey trap, cutie pie, draws you in, possibly drugs you, lies to you, gets you to do stuff that you're unwittingly doing. It's like the conspiracy card for me. And then I also pulled the number 33 card, Joyful Muse. And the subtitle for this one is Inspiration. And it's I think it's funny that I got, not funny, haha, but it's funny that I got 2 of the 2 cat cards in this deck. There may be more, but I don't think so. And they are of a completely different tenor. It says right there, joyful. That cat looks happy as hell. It's doing all manner of fun, creative things that you can do by yourself or with other people happily. I also pulled, oh, sorry, it's the number 33 card, and that is now mentioned. It is I believe that's how old Jesus was when he died, so that felt significant to mention. It is Sunday. The sun. Oh, I don't need. What am I doing? I already pulled the cards. So I pulled 2 cards also from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And they are the beaver card, and if you know what beavers are and what they do, you know that they are mostly in water element animals, and that is the water element symbol there at the top. But look at that dude, just striking out at the crack of dawn to get to work. That's where he's headed, and he's just fine about it. He has nowhere else to be. It's fine. That's his life. That's what he does. And then the other card I pulled was the Phoenix card, which, as you can see, it's doing Phoenix things. Like it has flames, and it has wings that are in motion as if they're winging, flapping. And so what happens when a bird flaps the wings? And that they fly, they go up, they rise. So there is the whole Phoenix story, basically. I mean, I guess this could be the ashes. Anyway, yeah, really obvious in that. This one I will read from the book from. But I will say that it's I already know that it's going to say really similar to what I had to say. But when I pulled it, it was like, when you go through it, like whatever it is, a struggle, you you go through whatever you have to go through to get to the next level, and it might be like a rite of fire. It might be painful. It might feel like you got torched while you were doing it, but you managed to still complete whatever you were doing and not get completely burned up. So here is what the book says about the Phoenix card. Man, I swear to God, I have fake teeth, right? And I must have touched some incense at some point, because I had them out to clean them, and then when I picked them up to put them back in, I've just been tasting incense the whole time. I haven't used incense in forever. I have some. I have no idea why it was on my hand, and it doesn't taste bad, but it just, you know how your mouth and your nose, you get that flavor scent thing? That's what I got. It's really strong. I don't like it. That's just been like the past couple of days. I haven't liked what's been going on much at all. Much at all. Don't mess with me anymore, teeth. I will cut you. So here's what the book says about Phoenix. Freedom from suffering and past karma, reincarnation. The Phoenix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running from it, denying it, or burning bridges with rage. The Phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication, tapas. The essence of the Phoenix is with us when we realize we have been suffering too long and something must change. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions, which will take you, this is just me talking now, which will take you down a meandering path and into places that you want to think that you would be wiser than to just wander into, but sometimes that's just on your path. Nobody said it was easy or pretty. And for the sake of doing it like in the Matrix, playing a role, it would be boring if we didn't have things like come up and create obstacles and barriers and bumps in the road. So, like incense mouth. But I have some other stuff to say, so I'll just wait on that. But at that very moment, the spark of the Phoenix is lit, and the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerge. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the Phoenix lifts our spirits up and up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before. Look closely, it's a sign the fire of transformation is upon your wings. Okay. The Phoenix and the first chakra. The ancient yogis believed that our heaviest karmas reside in the first chakra. This earthen center is called Muladhara, or our root. The ascent of the Phoenix begins here. So, basically in your pelvic zone is the area they're talking about. The ascent of the Phoenix begins here, and as the entanglement of karmas is slowly burned, it rises from the ash toward the navel center. Again and again, it makes this journey from first to third chakra, purifying our essence and freeing us from the past. So, yeah, what I said. Oh, I guess I'm not done with this. And what it says about the beaver is also pretty much what I said, but I'll just read it quickly. Beaver, hard worker, loyal, tireless, family first. The beaver personality is a welcome sight. These good-natured and dependable creatures have infinite love and enthusiasm for family and express it by way of the earth element. Oh, I'm sorry, I called that element wrong, and I was thinking when I said it, but they're on the land too. If they were water, well, wait, no, that is the symbol for water. I did say they're both. Anyway, moving on. And express it by way of the earth element, providing a home and financial stability. Well, people, bipedals provide financial stability. Beavers provide timber stability. Although a beaver doesn't usually initiate a project, once started, they'll work steadily for weeks, months, or years to see it through. The beaver card appears when the task at hand requires your long-term steady effort. It can also signify that it's time for some karma yoga, selfless service. When in balance, happy, meaningful work. I'm so tempted to do the tune from Whistle While We Work, but I'm not going to. But imagine that, because that's kind of how I always felt about them anyway. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and it doesn't matter if men come along and take it away and rip it up. What they've built, they'll just go and build another one. They were here first. When in balance, happy, meaningful work. When out of balance, feels useless, worn out. To bring into balance, physical labor, selfless service. So not dwelling on yourself and getting busy, apparently, is the beaver's story of success. So, this card, who is getting bamboozled? Well, I think it's obvious where I'm going to go with that, being as I mostly keep my commentary based on United States stuff. And it's actually in the news now. And so many people were dogging Rachel Maddow for saying that Russia had to do with Trump and corruption. And also, I just saw someone who I feel like should have read the Mueller report, but it didn't sound like they did, because they started talking about it and saying how it did nothing and he did nothing. And I was like, whoa, you really did not read what that thing says, which a lot of people didn't apparently, but not all of them. I bet Jack Smith read it. I feel pretty sure a lot of the court read it too. But again, I was talking about a news talker, so bear that in mind. But that's who would want a honeypot, like our politicians. And it sounds like, and there's reporting coming out now, that that's exactly what has happened. So many people. Now, see, I take psychics seriously because I have just watched them and determined who tends to be right and who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about ever. So it does take a moment. You have to watch some episodes, kind of a lot. I don't know. I would give it 3 months at least, which sometimes can be torturous because you don't necessarily want to be looking at the person. It's not always in my lane, so it's not always a pleasure, but I want to be informed, even about the stuff that I feel like has little truth to it. This, however, I don't know why people find it so hard to believe that Trump has some kind of connection with Russia. He talks so highly of Putin and Russia all the time. And he talks about having gotten help from them. His sons have been open about it. You get a lot of insight from the psychics that you do not get from the news. That, well, you get it later. Like, eventually stuff comes out. Not always, but most of the time. Some stuff is so deeply buried that, for whatever reason, forces that be earthly or spiritual decide that it's just better if people don't know all of that. And I kind of get it. They don't want to push us over edges and things, because then we'll be taking that stuff out on each other worse than we already are. But I've said it a bunch of times. If you think our politicians are acting against U.S. interests, that's probably why, because they're acting in self-interest and getting paid in various ways to undermine American institutions and undermine democracy. It's not just happening here. And I'm old enough to remember the Cold War, and it wasn't like totally terrible here. It was pretty bad for people in Europe, though. And I just feel pretty strongly they do not want to go back to that. But that's what the Russian guy, if he had his way, apparently is way into. And this is, I've heard like strategists and experts talk about it. I didn't need them to tell me. It's pretty obvious. Like I said, they got a signature and a technique to the way they do things. And one of the things is they know how to get people who are hurting for money and morally iffy and sort of spineless. And gee, I could be describing so many of our Congress people. It's not just Congress. They've leaked into our institutions, in our government a number of times over many years. And it hasn't just been Putin. There's always been this big competition between America and democracy, I guess, and everybody else that's democratic, and Russia that doesn't want democracy, because then he has to listen to other people and do stuff for other people. And I think that's the case with pretty much all of these guys that want to be authoritarian. And I just feel like in those situations, like the people that are around the guy, wow, why is that? And how long is that going to last before they're looking to like dispose of you too, once they have your funds, basically? Money, funds, rubles. So, and this is like a technique that's long been known to have been used by them against us. That's why we know about it. Or the honeypot. There was one, gosh, I don't know. It seems like it was like 6 or 7 years ago now, but there was a redheaded woman, and I believe she was in the Midwest, like in Chicago, and she had gotten a boyfriend who was a FBI agent, I believe. And then she left, and then she was discovered, or she was discovered and she was deported. I think she was discovered and then deported because the guy that was her boyfriend got into trouble. And then she went home, and they made her like a huge, like, oh my God, you're great. You like bamboozled an FBI guy and got him to be your boyfriend. And I'm sure she got some kind of information. They have their ways. But that was, hi, Russia screwing with us. And so what if they weren't in D.C.? Like, we don't have governments in Chicago. We don't have people to flip. So, I don't know. That is what I had on my mind about this card. But, there's this card, and it's happier. And on the one hand, I feel like it might be the state of mind of someone who is just naive. Like, they may not even have like the extreme money problems that make it easy to sort of bribe people. But that, you know what else makes that easy is like no character, weak character. So but there could also just be people that are like naive and don't realize that they don't even have to be paid. They're just like, oh, like they don't even know like history or grasp why authoritarianism would be bad for everyone, not just the people that this person could potentially just dislike and not want around, or not to have like an easy life, because it is not easy to just exterminate and dispose of millions of people. But also, it could represent like the rest of us, just like even naive in the way where you don't pay attention to the news and none of this ever like reaches your consciousness, which is a good element to have in society, I would say, because what this energy seems to be concentrating on is happiness and uplifting things and creativity, and all of those things feed us in a positive way. So good. And or maybe something. And then that also feels like the spirit of the beaver, like just up at sunset, doing what you got to do, regardless of all of the external stuff. Your family still has to eat. Like, you do have to do work. And this is the energy of, it's fine, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. It's not a hardship. I was gonna do it anyway. It keeps the wheels turning, you know. It's necessary. It's necessary. And we already talked about this one, because that's what's gonna happen after people listen to this and smoke this, you know, pink candy floss, cotton candy floss smoke. That's, I mean, it's like our candy, like Starburst. They call them Starburst here in America. They're like the fruit flavored squares, and they're individually wrapped. Anyway, they're banned in England, and when I mentioned that to someone, they immediately said, well, what is it, the colors? And you know what, I don't even know. It doesn't matter, probably something. What mattered to me is that we don't care enough to not feed our people that, but that's a whole other discussion. And I also pulled some regular tarot cards. They're not regular. When I say regular tarot cards, I mean the Rider-Waite. But in this case, they are not the Rider-Waite cards. They're the Lightseer deck. But when I said regular, I just meant not oracle cards, to be clear. So, hold on. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I thought my cat was flinging himself at the door because he insists on being outside even though it's raining. Well, actually, it's not at the moment. Doesn't mean it's not going to start again, though. Anyway, this card made me think of what I was saying about the conspiracy card, where the naive person has taken the information and this figure is studying it, but up here is all of these like ideas that they're just, I don't know, they're like light bulbs. So I mean, usually a light bulb is like, eureka, I understand now, but those are like yellow bulbs that are lighting up. These are blue. So I don't know, like their vision is shaded. That kind of goes along with what I'm saying, though. And it's the Page of Swords. So they are running off with like a head full of ideas, and they have a message that they have to give, but they're rushing off in a hurry and not looking where they're going. So they could just wander off the path and down into the crevasse. That is a risk. Sort of like walking and looking at your phone on the sidewalk before you plow into a pole or a person. Like that kind of situation. But also, yeah, not being aware, like they have a book right there in their hand, and like I was saying about the Russian stuff and their aggression against us, people are like, it's in front of them and they're not seeing it, or they're not understanding it. Like, I don't know, like maybe all these shaded bulbs are making it harder for them to see or to understand something. And if we just move right along into this next frame, it's like, or if we treat it like a frame, like a film frame, this person is, again, they have, sorry, I need to make sure, yeah, it's a 5. So they have a title. Maybe it's titled because she seems to be at the seashore. What I meant to say was total. She has a total of 5 eggs. And a lot of times in the regular tarot, these eggs over here, they're like, oh, they're ignoring all this abundance that they have and focusing on this thing that is like, it's interesting. Like, for some reason, she's like, it looks like tipping water with her foot. Am I crazy? Well, not because of that. Let me see. Yeah, she's like tipping the water bowl with her foot. With her foot. What is my pronunciation today? With her foot. So, like she's pouring this, like washing this egg down the drain. But you know what? Maybe that's not what's actually happening there. Maybe she's focusing on this because in some way the water is treating it. She's doing something with it. And I don't see any reason why it can't have been what happened with the other 4. However, she's just lagging and lazy and not really paying attention, which just brings me back to this. This is not lazy, but this is not paying attention. So, I mean, it's not ignoring the 4. It's kind of not paying attention to all of it. And like idly messing with this, like zoning out vacuuming or something, or washing dishes. It's like just going through the motions, and she doesn't look happy. The flowers look dreadful. Emphasis on dread. But you know, it's not total death. It's more like malaise. So the Hierophant, I obviously the stairs indicate higher something. It's like I think Hierophant refers to like important, like legal decisions or something like that. It's not like judgment, like court exactly. You know what? I'm just gonna grab the book because I'm not saying that very well. There's something there though. Oh, come on. I just saw you. Over here. No. Oh, there it is. It's just that it's like I feel like Hierophant is some kind of higher order of thinking or understanding rather than thinking. By the time you get to be the Hierophant, the thinking is like done. You already know the stuff. I believe. So here, give me a second. Sorry. I'm getting all the H's but the one I want. There you go. Little clown music for you. Can't do much music-wise anymore because licensing fees, and there's the Hierophant. Before I go into that rant, so what it says is the Hierophant is the embodiment of ritual, tradition, and conformity. Can be interpreted as the need for acceptance from others and to fit in with society. Wow, that seems kind of weak. So maybe I had that wrong, although I do have my own impression. The Hierophant suggests adherence to rules and principles, which could indicate being a part of a group of people, whether taking the role of mentor or regular group member. The established system of rules is comforting. Well, that's interesting. So if I'm still talking about the bamboozled people, they've lost their feeling of comfort with our set of rules apparently, and they want to go to some, well, I think what they want is moot at this point. I think they've lost the ability to be like, I don't think they have what is the word? Not autonomy, but I mean that works. Something like that. Like they can't just randomly wander about and do stuff. Now, you know, they've decided to take on this other system over their own. You know, like try to get rid of democracy and for profit's sake, and you know, no concern at all what it's going to happen to the people that are their constituents that they're supposed to be there representing and, I don't know, taken care of. So this, like I said, well, for one thing, not everyone did that. You know, like not everyone just like gave up their agency. That was the word I was looking for. They don't. They're now they're foreign agents. They're, I don't think, declared foreign agents. They're not like the legal type. They're the type. They're like spies. Well, no, they are spies if that's what they're doing. Opinion commentary. Please don't legally take my head off. So this guy, I don't know, usually it's like the person is making a choice and I feel like it's kind of frantic and they like are almost choosing in a hurry because they don't know what to choose because you can't really see what you're choosing. This one though, I feel like this person is faced with a lot of choices, but they know what they are, and so they're concentrating on making the best possible choice. Maybe out of some not great choices and decisions. You know, like, or, you know, it could be that there are also people that did not get snookered into or suckered or both into betraying their own country and people for selfish reasons, like cha-ching. Oh my god, like and And what if you get found out? Where does that leave you in your cha-ching? If you didn't get the hell out of Dodge, not in a good place, because there's other people that do make decisions that enforce the rules, and so I feel like this is the people that maybe they know about it and they know a lot, and there's risk involved in being a whistleblower, so to speak, because we've seen that be the case when someone is out there actually acting as a whistleblower. Like with Obama, he treated them like criminals, and I was so surprised, and boy did he lose me then. I understood about the black thing, like what could he do? Like one guy that everybody, well not everybody, but a lot of people really hated for that reason. It was like he couldn't have fixed anything with that. So I used to not understand that. I used to be angry at him for not even trying, but I kind of get it now. But anyway, where was I? So it could be a person that is like, should I speak out about these things that I know about these people? Or it could even be a person, or even the same person, that is like, okay, I got in, but I want the hell out. Like, this was a bad choice. I don't want to do that again, so I gotta make a good choice. Like, that's what I'm getting from this picture. So it's either some sort of decision that's gonna rectify a big fat mess. And, you know, for those people in a potential, well, okay, I'm going to say a potential situation where they could be, like, arrested for their crimes against their country. And also for the people trying to enforce the laws and stuff and play by the rules. Like I said, there's an element of risk involved. And I'm not sure exactly what that would entail. I'm not going to even speculate what type of risk it is, but whatever it is, if you're a politician and you're under the spotlight in the wrong way, start there with risk. Go from there. Either way, whether you're on that side of the coin, so to speak, or not, where you're just like, hi, I'm an American just trying to live my life. What are you people doing? Why are you trying to destroy stuff? Everybody is going to need a measure of strength, because this crap is going to put us through the fire. I think, though, like I said, it's coming out. Our law enforcement and government that do want to not betray democracy and upend that whole system. Not that it doesn't need work, but that's not unique. You know, a couple of 100 years go by, a few tweaks are probably necessary to the governmental system. So, in this, like, normally this is like swords pinning you down. Is it swords? Or what do we got here? Is it one? No, this is swords. So, normally this will depict somebody pinned down to the ground by swords. And, I mean, all you gotta do is look at that and you'll get some sort of interpretation of like, oh, that ain't good. That ain't good, basically. In this case, I feel like while there is shadows on the edges of where she's standing, she's not pinned down. And while I, for some reason, totally see strings attached to the birds, attaching the birds to her head, they are not there, but I guess that's the implication. And I feel like the reason why there are no visible strings, like, I feel like I'm seeing strings like are on here, but they are not there. So it's like a metaphor. But It is intrusive thoughts. I feel like in this case. And those can be dealt with, you know. I mean, we all have decisions to make every day, and they're not to the level of things that are going to topple the government, like either way usually, but in our lives they're important and monumental sometimes, and you know, our stuff's important to us. So, you know, intrusive thoughts that you really got to let go. But I see like blue sky, the sunshine, and her dress is a hopeful orange color, and she's standing at the edge of a golden field of sunlight, a sunspot in the field. And she can like listen to the intrusive thoughts and trap herself in, well, you know what intrusive thoughts do to you. It's hard to stop them once they get started, and they're just going around and around. And I'm sorry, but it reminds me of being on speed, where you just kind of can't stop the stuff going through your head until your body just slows the heck down and goes to sleep. So I don't think that's her situation, but like I said, I understand intrusive thoughts. So I'm not saying she's on drugs either. I'm just saying other things can cause that to happen. It's an unpleasant feeling is the point. So she can either step forward and it just gets darker the further away she gets from letting go of these things. She needs to cut the invisible threads if she wants to be free going forward. And that is symbolic, I think, for the people in between and the people that just went for it willy-nilly, as they say. Overall, it's all going to be resolved. That's just the way of things. And also, nobody likes sneaking around behind the back shady stuff. So it gets found out, it has problems for trying to give us problems. No good. We don't like it. No thank you. Thank you and good night, though.